War soldier named Sam. And what the fuck? Dude, I turned it just in time.
In the heart of Kentucky on October 8, 1862, the fields near Perryville became the stage for one of the Civil War's pivotal clashes, the Battle of Perryville. It was the largest battle fought in Kentucky and the climax of the Confederate Heartland Offensive. Confederate General Braxton Bragg, leading the Army of Mississippi, marched north into Kentucky, hoping to sway the state to the Confederate cause and gather supplies. Meanwhile, Union General Don Carlos Buell and his Army of the Ohio moved to intercept him. By early October, both armies converged on Perryville, drawn by its critical roadways and scarce water sources during a severe drought. The Perryville battlefield stands as a preserved historic site, offering visitors a glimpse into the bloodshed and bravery of that fateful day. Through efforts by preservation groups, its legacy continues, a reminder of the battle that helped shape the course of the Civil War. The Battle of Perryville, where history was written in sacrifice.
Craig Owens, and I'm with Haunted Discoveries and Haunted Discoveries Family Spirits, and I'm a historian and member of APRA. Well, I'm here hanging out at the Dr. J.J. Polk Apothecary. I have helped Brandon, the owner of this property, research the history of the Polk family in Perryville and the ghost stories associated with both Perryville and the Polk House.
I'm Brandon Alvis, the owner of the Dr. Jefferson Johnson Polk House Museum and Paranormal Research Center. We're currently standing inside of the Polk Apothecary and Doctor's Office, which was built and founded by Dr. Polk in 1840. This was a practicing doctor's office and apothecary until his retirement before the Battle of Perryville. And Polk lived a pretty quiet life until October 8th, 1862, when he was thrown back into service with helping not only the Union Army, but the Confederate Army in trying to revive some of these men that were bloodied, damaged, and many killed in the Battle of Perryville.
The Polk family, Dr. J.J. Polk, was a man of God and newspaper editor who wasn't making a good living at either one, an adequate living. He was a very opinionated man, and when he settled in Danville, he tried to make a go out of both, and he wasn't quite making it. So he turned to medicine, which became his major vocation. And according to his autobiography, which gives some very important details about himself, his mindset, and his family, he really struggled between medicine and religion. And I believe he probably struggled because he was trying to incorporate both. And I believe he actually did throughout most of his career. However, in Danville, other doctors appeared on the scene. He folded his paper and decided to get out of the publishing business. And he moved to Perryville, where he became what you would call a bigger fish in a smaller pond. So he sets up shop here. He already had some children born in Danville, but he bore a lot more children with his wife Eliza or Eliza. We have never been able to determine how to pronounce her name. And they set up a household here, and he moved to Perryville in 1840, which is about when this house was built. So he might have actually been the first occupant of the house. And from this point on, he, took care of families, but he could not get rid of the ministerial passion that he had. So on Sundays, he would go to church, he would minister. He actually created some churches outside of the Perryville area. And so he kind of juggled religion and spirituality with medicine. Now, as he got older, his health went downhill and he retired, actually before the Battle of Perryville, and he was retired. He was also a staunch Unionist and was one of the few people to actually vote for Lincoln in this particular county, Boyle County, and in Perryville. And in his autobiography, he mentions that he caught a little bit of guff and a little bit of backtalk for his strong Union beliefs. He was also very much into temperance. He did not want the sale of liquor or any kind of evil imbibement being sold and served in Perryville. So he was a very staunch leader on these particular causes. So when Braxton Bragg's army rolled in October 1862, Polk appears to have stayed in Perryville while many of his kinsmen and other townsfolk left when they got word that there may be some kind of military action nearby. When the battle hit on October 8th, 1862, carnage was everywhere. It was a much bloodier battle than what anyone could anticipate. Perryville had between 300 to 400 population. By the end of the day, that population had swelled to about 3,000 when you include the number of wounded soldiers that were brought in from the battlefield looking for a hospital, looking for food, looking for water. And the people of Perryville were hard pressed into service, giving up their livestock, trying to cook for the soldiers, having to offer shelter in their homes. Dr. Polk, this is where he really became a legend of Perryville. This retired doctor decided to come out of retirement, and he became an assistant to a surgeon perhaps, but he definitely became a surgeon not long after the battle. He was working alongside even Confederate surgeons that had stayed behind as prisoners of war to try to fix the wounded, both Confederate and Union. And this particular house and this particular property takes on a very historic meaning and significance due to the number of soldiers that were brought in with life-saving surgeries needing to be performed. And Dr. Polk worked around the clock. One of the surgeons that he befriended, a Confederate prisoner of war surgeon named Charles Langenbecker. When Langenbecker worked himself to exhaustion to the point of death, they brought his body, his sick body with pneumonia, into the Polk House. Not only did he die in the Polk House, J.J. Polk, Dr. J.J. Polk also gave him one of the plots in the cemetery, one of his family plots, which shows his dedication not only as a doctor, but as just a human being, a caring human being. Kind of in conclusion about J.J. Polk is that it seems to me, just based on his autobiography, that the war affected him in a very profound way, and if there's he must have had some degree of distress, PTSD, as did many townspeople. I think he struggled with the horrors that he saw in war, and he really relied on his faith and strength of character, the way he was brought up, the way he tried to bring up his family, and his position as a minister, local preacher. He tried to be an upstanding leader in trying to heal Perryville up until his death in the 1880s.
Throughout mine and Craig's research, we have found 4 definite deaths from the Polk family on this property, all inside the house. So you had Jefferson Johnson Polk, his wife Eliza, his daughter Margaret, and his daughter Belle. They all died in this house, 2 of which, when we talk about Margaret, we talk about Belle, they both passed away in the home. They were born in the home, they never married, and they have what seems like an emotional attachment to this place. But we do know of Charles Langenbacker, the Confederate surgeon, that died in the home as well, but it's very difficult to say how many soldiers died on this property. This home was used as a Civil War field hospital for 8 to 10 days, and that was written about by Dr. Jefferson Polk in his autobiography. So out of anywhere I've ever been, out of anywhere I've ever researched, there's amazing resources when it comes to historical material on this property. Not only did you have Dr. J.J. Polk's autobiography, but you have a town that very much cares about this property. They considered it to be the heart of the community. So there's a lot of historical information, there's a lot of ghost stories, and there's been a lot of personal experiences within the building. When Craig was doing his research on this property, he did find an article from 1998 that talks about people working in the Polk garden, looking up and seeing a young boy looking out the windows and actually throwing marbles at them. So you have an article that goes back over a decade. You have people walking by this house, which has no power whatsoever, and seeing lights on inside. And that was written about in the 90s as well. We actually did just run into this young kid, about 16 years old, who told us that he was walking by the property about a year ago and saw an elderly woman in the same window where this boy's seen, and that this woman was knitting a Union flag. So there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of history, and I hope that Ricky and the team can find something to back up those claims.
So almost everybody I've met that lives in Perryville and have interviewed have a ghost story about this place, and the longer I'm here, I'm beginning to have my own. So this town, despite its small size, has a lot of paranormal activity and might just be one of the most haunted small towns in the United States. Now, one of the ghost stories that are often told by the people of Perryville is about a Civil War soldier named Sam. And what the fuck?
Dude, I turned it just in time. Dude, something just literally fell. Dude, something literally, I saw it at the corner of my eye. It was up top.
It was this light. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Explain what just happened.
Well, what just happened was, as I was talking about Sam and leading up to my own personal paranormal experiences since being in Perryville and spending some time here, a light fixture that had been installed overhead of this cabinet crashed at the very mention of Sam. Now, I was just getting around to explaining more about Sam as being a Civil War soldier that has been seen up and down Merchants Row. One particular story had to do with a knock on a door. Someone answers the door, and it's a Confederate soldier asking for a glass of water. They get him a glass of water, bring it to where Sam was. Sam's gone. Other people attribute Sam to haunting their basement of like the antique store right across the way. Others have blamed Sam for this mysterious figure that's walking along the Chaplain River behind the stores on Merchants Row, whistling. I was standing outside just mesmerized by the gloom and this feeling of heaviness. And I was just looking down at the end of Merchants Row where the Park store was and what was once a theater. And I literally saw a shapeless shadow moving within a shadow at the very end of the building. I saw it dead to rights, and I almost never see shadow people or apparitions, but I did see this, and I just kept staring and staring. Little did I know, until I started telling people about it, that I was informed that that's actually the common area where Sam is often seen, either in shadow form or as a full body apparition. So after that, we come into this room and we set up all of our devices around here. And as we're asking questions, we bring up the name Sam. I brought up Sam's name in this room, and much to my surprise and shock, the devices started consistently lighting up with the name Sam every time it was mentioned, as if whatever energy might be here, if it's intelligent, seems to recognize that and is responding to that name. So a lot of the responses to our questions seemed intelligent, because they happened like right after the light, right after we asked the question, the light goes off, and we were able to kind of determine, at least based on the responses from the devices lighting up, that Sam was looking for someone, that he didn't identify himself as a soldier, but that he was looking for someone who just happened to be a sweetheart. And so we kept asking, and one of the oddest things that happened was Brandon was sitting in his chair. He thinks he hears a noise in a cabinet. He turns, he suddenly says he felt a big gush of air hit him, and kind of this energy force. So he heard a noise in the cabinet, followed by this kind of energized wind or breeze that came by. And less than a minute later, we were talking about, I wonder who that is. And he just mentions the name Sarah's pops into my head, you know. And so we tried Sarah, blip, you know, a response. So afterwards, I listened to the audio, and during an hour and 28 minutes of asking questions in a room that has no electricity, no electrical wiring of any kind, no energy in this room, we got 93 hits, which is amazing. And I've never seen it like that before or since. So I started looking into the records, and I found a possible match of a man named Sam Houston Ransom. And he was a quartermaster, which doesn't really make him like a combat soldier. And he was with the Confederate Army, which kind of backs up the claims of people seeing a Confederate soldier wandering up and down the streets. And another thing about Sam, as we dug deeper into him, he had died near the Bottom House on the day of the Battle of Perryville. And we started looking into his family, and we found that he was 27 years old. This matches the description of the young man that's been seen here in Confederate uniform. But the thing that kind of flipped my hat was that he had a wife, and his wife was named Sarah. So now we're looking into seeing if we can corroborate and see if maybe this Sam that has been seen up and down Merchants Row is in fact Sam Houston Ransom, and perhaps he's looking for his wife Sarah. It's really a tragic story, what happened, because Sam had married Sarah. They both came from money. They both were in Tennessee. Sarah was expecting his child and was very late in her pregnancy when Perryville broke out. In fact, she gave birth to his son 15 days after the Battle of Perryville. And So he must have known this. He must have wanted to be there for the childbirth because he had just recently married Sarah. He would have been deeply in love, and I don't think he was expecting any kind of combat being a quartermaster. Also, keep in mind that quartermasters are largely responsible for gathering supplies for the infantry he represents. So, he would have been up and down Merchants Row gathering supplies for his Tennessee infantry. So everything just kind of adds up that we kind of think that this might be the spirit or ghost that haunts here as Sam.
With things off to a hot start in the apothecary, we decided it was time to set up equipment and try to establish communication.
Make sure I'm not in the... Hold on.
That was weird. I was like,
Yeah, I know. Let's make
Yeah.
sure I'm not in it here. Hold on. Usually starts with motion. Every time.
Yep.
That's how it always starts.
Then vibration and then EMF.
So yeah, this is the atmospheric phenomena logger. It's called the APL is what we call it, but it detects temperature, pressure, humidity, vibration, motion, and EMF. And it's recording, data logging, very high quality Bosch sensors, and it's one of the best devices we've ever used. And it actually data logs it as soon as you turn it on, data logs and timestamps it.
oh wow.
So like with the EDI, if you record it, you don't know when it's recording. This thing actually has an internal clock. So
That's
it's actually showing us what's happening. And when we do haunted discoveries, it works really well because everything's time coded anyways with the cameras and the audio, so we can perfectly sync anything. That's William Todd Polk up there, that photo.
Oh, that's... Oh, whoa, dude, I got it. As soon as we started talking about William. William, were you in the cemetery earlier, buddy?
LZMF too. LZMF thing.
Yeah. Wow.
It's consistent, so weird. The Polk family, right? Quite a few of you guys in that branch of the tree. A lot of doctors. Gonna do Estes here?
Yeah, I'll go under, dude. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I used to hate it, but I get crazy stuff.
I'm curious what you're gonna get in there, man.
Yeah, I can't wait.
When I was going, I don't remember.
We should do one tonight where I'm upstairs by myself and y'all are downstairs. That way there's no possible chance of me hearing any... You want to do that? Okay, we'll do it. You want me upstairs by myself? Okay.
We know which room it is.
Yep.
Too. We know exactly.
I'm going to go to the yellow room, right? Where they did the...
Go up there and then come out, the other you come out here. Then you
Oh.
can
Oh, yeah, do it across the way.
try
Yeah.
both.
Oh.
Try both and see
Yeah.
which one has the best result.
Oh, dual Estes at the same time.
Do that too.
Yeah. They know what this is. Do people do Estes here?
Never's been done.
How do you know what Estes is? Sam, is this you, buddy? Can you light that up for me? Okay. Well, I just want to let you know that, any way you want to communicate, we can try that. I'm kind of moved by your story. And I'm sorry it happened the way it happened to you.
Yep, it was brutal.
We're not trying to glorify anything. It's just we're trying to understand your sacrifice. So what I'm trying to say is we're not trying to disrespect you by talking about the war. I know that's probably uncomfortable for you, but Sam, are you still here? Can you light that up for me? Oh, it tried. I saw the light blink.
What was that one?
Very dimly. Oh, there it is. I told you. All right, buddy. I know you've got the energy now. Can you please go over to that lantern? Might require a little more energy. But that was like on point.
It was.
Like, unfortunately, we weren't able to capture any more hits. So we decided to go explore downtown Perryville. Downtown Perryville. Brandon showing us around.
Right, man.
Autofocus sucks,
Yeah.
but
I was right here, dude. I saw a walk.
You what?
Yep.
before we dive into the investigation, it's important to reflect on the location. Not only that, but the history that surrounds it. Because without the history, you can't have a haunting. And also, oftentimes people forget that spirits were people too. They are still the same people they were when they were alive. That is why I always approach every investigation with the utmost respect. Downtown Perryville is so well preserved, it is truly a gem and a step back in time. Now we wait for the sun to set so we can begin our nighttime investigation at the J.J. Polk House. Alright, so right now we're doing the Estes method. If you're not familiar with that, what this is a spirit box. What this is said to do, just to briefly, summarize what this does, is it's said that spirits can use this to manipulate it and use their actual voices to speak. So they're going to ask questions. They're in the other room, and I'm going to repeat back what I hear. I can't hear them. I've got noise canceling headphones on. Alright, so I'm ready when you guys are. 3, 2, 1. Ricky. He won't calm down. Get something. I couldn't make that out. Something about a body. Upon review of this footage, I start to look very upset and angry, but yet I do not remember even having a sense of anger. I can't explain why I start looking like this. Whistling, like it was calling for something. Whoa! I just heard cannons going off. Push. And what I heard, Joel, was like a specific sound a cannon makes after the round leaves the cannon. Screaming. Whistling again. It went. Could this be the spirit of Sam? More battle noises. More. That land all day long. Seven. More Civil War battle noise. During this moment, I kept getting constant battle noises. This was actually pretty strange.
I heard whistling again. We know. I'm hearing it again. That's them. Is anybody moving? Time out. The floor around me is shaking right now.
Nope. Ricky's sitting down, I'm lying on the floor.
Whoa. Alright, let's continue. Oh! Cannon fire again! I'm literally hearing battle noises. And there's a specific sound a cannon makes when it... Something about men. We're in trouble. Something about Blue Jays.
What is it about the Blue Jays?
Oh, that was creepy. Some weird laughing. Distant battle noises again.
Tell us whose house this was.
Dude, this is insane. I'm hearing... What the hell? Quite the language you got, Ricky. Hey. Me. More artillery. Something about blues. Time out. Weird. So, I'm hearing a lot of cannon fire. Have y'all asked anything about the battle?
No, like, you kind of was just like talking with, I mean, it's like,
So nothing I'm saying is making sense.
no, it's like you're just like trying to say something without interacting with us. Like, I don't feel like there's anybody in here with me and that
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
My ears started burning, like on the outside, like got really hot,
Cool.
and I had a really bad headache and I feel nauseous.
Alright, let's step outside. Did you just say yep?
What?
Did you say yep? I said let's step outside and I heard yep. Are you sure?
I'll get you a big buzzer.
That got me all right. I just
An EVP session. Bro, it's like I said, let's step outside, and it sounded like somebody go, yup.
like I didn't.
I'm playing that back.
The following is raw audio footage captured in the moment from my digital voice recorder.
And I had a really bad headache and I feel
Alright, let's step outside. Did you just say yup?
What?
Did you say yup? I said let's step outside and I heard yup. Well, shit. Time to tie my shoe, and this message is brought to you by Haunted Discoveries. Thank you so much for watching. This concludes part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, smash the notification bell. Stay tuned for part 2 when we do Estes in the Apothecary, and then something crazy happens.